Okay, while we stand, let me pray. Thank you, our Father God, that we can rejoice because of who you are and because of the nature of your Son, our risen King. Help us to see more of him today, to get to know him better, to love you more as a result. Amen. Okay, please do take a seat. And we've already talked about kings already. You'll have seen Toby's picture up on the screen. And I've got a question for you to discuss with the people around you. Turn around and discuss this question in a moment. Here it is. How could you spot a king? Okay? How could you spot a king? Going to discuss, and we'll have a couple of things shouted out. Just to help you with this, I'm going to show you a picture of a king. There he is. A king you know. Probably not personally, though if you do, I'd be interested to hear that. But a king you might recognize. How do you spot a king? Chat with the people around you. Say hello, introduce yourself if you haven't done that already. And then, how do you spot a king? Let's go. Okay, hold it there. Okay, any ideas? I have a couple of people to shout out. How would you spot a king? Anything you'd be looking out for? A crown. Okay, I've got a crown. That's good. A castle. Great one. Or a palace or a big impressive house. Here's our crown, okay? I obviously haven't got a palace tucked away in the pew there, but I've got a crown. Okay, what else might you be looking for? A robe! That would be a great one. I don't have a robe, but a robe. Look at King Charles's magnificent robe there. That's a great thing. Anything else? Anything else we'll be on the lookout for? What's that? Security. Got security guards. You can't see them, though, because they're subtly blending in with the rest of the congregation. Okay, anything else? Last one. Gold! I haven't got any gold either. This is good, isn't it? But I have got a throne. Okay, here we go. Here's a throne. Okay, a throne and a crown. All those other things are exactly right. We're going to be using those in a moment because as we look at our Bible passage today, that true story that we're picking up on, if you were here as an adult in the room last week, we're picking up in the place we left off. But it's a true story where we see that Jesus has been arrested. He's been arrested. The rulers have gone and grabbed him in a garden. They've arrested him. And now he's been up before Pontius Pilate, who's the guy in charge of the whole area. And he's got to work out, is Jesus guilty? And if he is guilty, what is he going to do? That's what we're looking at today. And as we do that, we're going to see some different characters in the story. And you'll get to meet a few of them in a few moments. And the question we're asking is, can you spot the king? Who is in charge in this story? Who's got the power? Okay? Who's in charge as we try and spot the king? Spotting the king. We're going to spot the king in our Bible story. So, the Bible passage is going to come up on the screen, but if you want to as well, you might like to follow along in one of these Bibles. Page number 1087. There you go. So you might want that. Okay? And the question that we're asking throughout this story is, who's in charge, okay? Who's in charge? That's what we're going to be asking. And, okay, hold on, Job, for a minute. We'll see where we go as we carry on. Okay, who's in charge is the question we're going to be asking. And we're going to meet the characters in the story before we read through. So to start with, we've got Pontius Pilate. Here he comes, Pontius Pilate, up to the front. Pontius Pilate is the Roman ruler. He's very important. He seems very powerful, and he's going to need a microphone as well. Did that microphone disappear? Thank you, Toby. There we go. He's going to need a microphone. He seems a lot of the time like he's in charge, because he's supposed to be in charge of the whole area. Okay, Pontius Pilate. We've also got Jesus. Where's Jesus? or the person playing Jesus. Dan's been working on his beard for a long time. This is where he's got to, ready for today. And Jesus in the story has been arrested, remember? So he's under kind of lock and guard. He's on trial, and he just seems to be doing what everybody else tells him to do, okay? That's Jesus. Then in the story, we've also got the soldiers. And the soldiers, I'm just trying to see who looks keen in the room. The soldiers are going to be this block of chairs down this side. You guys are the soldiers. You're going to have to shout out what the soldiers say, okay? You're going to be the soldiers. And the soldiers, basically, what do soldiers do? They just follow orders. They're not in charge, but they're under Pilate's instructions. He's in charge of them. There we go. Joshua, you were made for this. It's great. Then there's a big crowd of people, the chief priests and the Jewish leaders, and everybody else in the room. That's you, okay? The chief priests and the Jewish leaders. And everybody else wrapped up in that group. And when the words come up for you to say, you need to shout them nice and loudly, because this crowd is a noisy crowd, okay? They're a noisy crowd, and they make a lot of noise. So make sure you play your part. And we need one final person as we read through the story who's our narrator. Where's Natasha? Natasha can be our narrator, okay? So she's reading the bits in between the bits that everybody say. Okay, remember the question, who's in charge? Is it Pilate? Is it Jesus? Is it soldiers? Is it the chief priests and the Jewish leaders? Okay, soldiers, your first bit, hail King of the Jews in this section. You ready for it? Make sure you're on it, okay? Let's start with verse number 1. It's going to pop up on the screen as well. There we go, and I put it in red. If you're out here and you're involved, so soldiers, your bit's in red, just to keep you on your toes. Ready? Take it away, Natasha.
Then Pilate took Jesus and had him flogged. The soldiers twisted together a crown of thorns and put it on his head. They clothed him in a purple robe and went up to him again and again, saying, "Hail, King of the Jews!" And they slapped him in the face.
Okay, good start, well done. You guys can join the chief priests for the rest of it if you want to feel included. Okay, so who's in charge at this moment? Who do we think seems in charge, okay? Tom, just jump back so we've got 1 to 3 up on the screen. Keep it there. Brilliant, thank you. Okay, who do we think's in charge? Adults, you can join in as well. Anyone? What do you reckon? Who's in charge so far? Go on, somebody shout out. Yeah, go for it. Oh, no, not yet. We're not there yet. Okay, good stuff. Come on, grown-ups, join in as well. Who seems in charge? Who says in charge? Pilate. I think Pilate's in charge because he's ordered, okay? Do you see what he did? He said to the soldiers to take Jesus away and flog him, and that means so they're hitting him with a bit of material. It would really hurt. And they got the soldiers and they've twisted this crown together and put it on Jesus' head and mocked him. Jesus does nothing. They just do it to him. He seems so weak, not in charge at all. So Pilate seems in charge. So Pilate, you can go on the throne, stick the crown on. Okay, so far, Pilate seems in charge. He seems like he's the one with all the power. Next bit, let's go verse 4. And if you're in the rest of the congregation, you're playing the part of the chief priests and the Jewish leaders. Look out for crucify, crucify. And on the next slide, there'll be another bit as well. Okay, go on, Tash.
Once more, Pilate came out and said to the Jews gathered there,
"Look, I am bringing him out to you to let you know that I find no basis for a charge against him."
When Jesus came out wearing the crown of thorns and the purple robe, Pilate said to them,
"Here is the man."
As soon as the chief priests and their officials saw him, they shouted, "Crucify! Crucify!" But Pilate answered,
"You take him and crucify him. As for me, I find no basis for a charge against him."
The Jewish leaders insisted, "We have a law, and according to that law, he must die, because he claims to be the Son of God." When Pilate heard this, he was even more afraid, and he went back inside the palace.
Okay, who seems like they're in charge here? This is a tricky one, I think, because we've had Pilate bringing Jesus out, and he's kind of saying, "Here's Jesus. I've decided there's nothing wrong. He's done nothing wrong. Here he is. You take him." But then everybody shouts back at him. And what does he end up doing? He goes back inside the palace, afraid. So he said, come on, here you go, here's your king. You take him, you crucify, there's nothing wrong, you have him. And they say, no, no, no. And Pilate seems to change his mind. So who seems to be in charge, do we think, in that situation? Anyone? The crowd. They seem to be in charge, don't they? I think so. It's a bit tricky. They seem to be in charge, and because they're just making so much noise to try and get their own way. So I don't know if anyone else ever does that. To get your own way, whether you just make as much noise as possible, you say the same thing again and again and again. We had this actually in our car yesterday when people to listen to different music, and the same thing came up again and again and again to try and get their way, force it. And sometimes the noisy people seem to win in all sorts of places in life. The noisy people seem in charge here. So I just need somebody from the crowd to come and sit on the throne for us. Sophie, your hand was up first. Come and sit on the throne. Take the crown off, Joshua. Sophie can have that. There you go. So there you go. The crowd seem to be in charge. Okay, next bit. Let's go. Verse number 8.
When Pilate heard this, he was even more afraid, and he went back inside the palace.
Come from?
He asked Jesus, but Jesus gave him no answer.
Do you refuse to speak to me?
Pilate said.
Don't you realize I have power either to free you or to crucify you?
Okay, and just back one again, Tom. Stick on that. Brilliant. Okay, and that's just Pilate and Jesus in this bit. Back in the palace, and they're talking, and they're trying to work out. And Pilate has come back in, and he's sort of said, look, answer these questions. He wants to find out more. But, Jesus doesn't answer anything. So Pilate says, do you see what? Remember what he said there? He said, don't you realize that I have the power either to free you or to crucify you? Pilate's going, I'm in charge. I can make sure that you go free, or you're going to go to the cross. So it's a Pilate's power play. So I'm afraid, Sophie, you're off the throne. Pilate, you're back on for this moment. Pilate's going, I'm in charge, okay? But who do you see hasn't said anything so far? Somebody hasn't said anything so far in this whole passage. We're going to hear from him, Jesus, exactly. One thing he says, everybody's fighting for power. Pilate says, look, I'm the one who's in charge here. The crowd are shouting back and trying to get their way, and they seem like they were going to. Jesus, completely silent. And here we go, one thing that Jesus says, verse 11. Oh, sorry, let's just flip the mics back on. Let's go again.
Jesus answered,
You would have no power over me if it were not given to you from above. Therefore, the one who handed me over to you is guilty of a greater sin.
Okay, so here's Pilate. Pilate says, look, I'm in charge. I've got the power. And Jesus says, look, you would have no power unless it was given. You've only got power because it's been given to you. It's been given to you by God. That's the only reason you have power. Jesus is saying, I, God's Son, I am the one who has the power. Even though he seems so quiet and everyone's struggling all around him, he's quiet. He is the one who is in control. And as we read on, we see that this struggle continues. Is it going to be Pilate? Is it going to be the crowd? Who's going to get their way? Jesus is silent from here on in. He's the one, though, with the power. And the crowd try and get louder and louder. So crowd, you're back in the game here. You're going to join in. I want you to be nice and loud, okay? So you're looking for your next line that's going to come up in red on the screen in a moment, okay? Ready? Let's read from verse 12. We're going to read through to the end of the passage across the next two slides. Let's join in. Here we go.
From then on, Pilate tried to set Jesus free, but the Jewish leaders kept shouting,
If you let this man go, you are no friend of Caesar. Anyone who claims to be king opposes Caesar.
When Pilate heard this, he brought Jesus out and sat down on the judge's seat at a place known as the Stone Pavement, which in Aramaic is Gabbatha. It was the day of preparation of the Passover. It was about noon.
Here is your king.
Pilate said to the Jews, but they shouted,
Take him away, crucify him.
Shall I crucify your king?
Pilate asked.
We have no king but Caesar.
The chief priests answered. Finally, Pilate handed him over to them to be crucified.
So see what happens, guys. Thank you very much. You can take your seats again. See what happens there. There's an argument going on. And Pilate is trying to set him free. He's decided, this man has done nothing wrong. I'm going to try and set him free. But even though he's the guy who's supposed to be powerful over the whole area, he can't do it. Because the crowd say, oh, if you did that, your boss, Caesar, the great emperor, he wouldn't be very pleased with you. You've got to crucify him. What if this happens? What if this all kicks off into a bit of a riot? What would Caesar think? He's the one you've got to impress, and Pilate is scared. So the crowd get their way by being noisy and loud and keeping on shouting. They seem like they're in charge of what's happening. But we know they're not. Jesus, quiet throughout the whole thing, says one thing. He could have defended himself, but he didn't. Because Jesus is going to his death deliberately. He is the truly powerful king. He lays down his life deliberately. Why? Because he's the king of love, and he loves us so deeply. So here's a question for you. Who in this room wants to be in charge? Who wants to be like a king or queen and get their own way? We've got some people will be honest. Others will be thinking in their head, actually, that is often what we want. So we have loads of choices in our life, don't we? Lots of things to do. We could go one way or another, and we want to go the way that will best suit us, the thing that we think is good for us all the time. We don't want to listen to anybody else. And we make these choices, all these little choices all the time, but we make one big choice. Here it is. Let me just get a bit of pre-prepared woodwork. Actually, I borrowed this bit of wood, but I stuck some things on it. So there you go. Here's our big choice that we have to make all the time. It's a signpost. We can either go my way, or we can go God's way. My way or God's way. And all the time, we've got a choice in our life. Do we go my way, or do we go God's way? And yet, each one of us want to go our way. And as we do that, Toby, just jump up here. Hold it up for us nice and high. Okay? As we do that, as we go our way instead of God's way, we're walking further and further away from him. We're walking further away from him. We're going our way, not God's way. And that's what the Bible calls sin. And yet Jesus comes as the King of love, and he comes down to this world, and he comes after us. Here we go, from God's way, he comes after us to get us and to call us back, to come back to God the Father. And more than that, he doesn't just come after us, but he makes a way for us, because our sin creates this big barrier which blocks us away from God. Jesus comes and pays for it. Here's Jesus, the King of love. He comes because he loves us so deeply. What a king we have. Now, the thing about King Jesus is he's not a king who comes and stays sat on a throne and just kind of enjoys all the privilege, all those kind of gold jewelry, all the security, all these good things around us. He doesn't come and stay sat on a throne. Just take a step to the side, Toby, for a minute. He doesn't come to a throne. What does he come to? He comes to a cross. Jesus is not like any other king who comes and looks after their power. They might do good things, but they sit in a position of power. No, Jesus lays it all down. He gets rid of his crown. He comes down, and he comes and dies on a cross for you and for me. He is the King of love who lays his life down for us because he loves us so deeply because of all the ways we've gone our way and not God's way. I'm going to pop up one more time, just for a couple of minutes in a moment. But just before then, we're going to sing a song, and this song is called The Power of the Cross, because actually Jesus is the most powerful king there is. He's in control over the whole universe, and he lays it all down to die on the cross, because he is the king who loves us deeply. So we've seen that Jesus is the true, powerful king. He's the one who lays down his life. But here's the thing. Don't you think that other people sometimes seem so powerful? So it might be king or queen of country or the prime minister or the president. They seem so powerful. Or it might be someone who just seems really clever, or they've got a particular set of skills. And they seem so powerful. And compared to them, Jesus sometimes can seem so weak. And we as his followers can feel so weak. Or it might be it's other people who are exactly like us, but they all seem to think the same things that go away from God's ways. And together they make a lot of noise. And because they're so noisy, they seem so powerful. And as they get more and more together, they shout even louder. And it seems hard to go God's way. And sometimes Jesus might feel very quiet in your mind. He might seem very weak. But in our Bible passage, we've seen that whether important people seem powerful or noisy people seem powerful, Jesus is always in charge, and he's always good. And his ways are always the best ways. As he swaps a throne for a cross, it seems silly to so many people, yet he is the one who is truly powerful. And he does it for you and I because he loves us, so that if we turn to him and we trust him, we can be forgiven. So the question for us to think about is, will you follow him and will you go his way, even if everybody else says another way is better? Don't bother with Jesus. He is the one to follow. His way is always so better. And when people say this, just three things to think. One is to remember how Jesus is the king who went to the cross. He's the one who's truly powerful. So when you feel like everyone else is saying, don't go God's way, go another way, whether that be at school or at work or with your family or your friends, remember, Jesus is the truly powerful king who lays down his life for you. And once you remember that, the next thing to do is to pray. And to pray that he would be the one who would help you know and remember how powerful he is and help you go his way. So you remember, pray, and then go. Go God's way. It is always the best way. We're going to have a little chat with the people around us. There's going to be some discussion questions that pop up on the screen. And if you're different ages, you've got different questions. So under fives, who in our story was really in charge? That's your question. 5s to 7s, why is Jesus different from other kings? If you're 8 or older, but not yet a grown-up, when do you find it hard to go God's way? And if you're particularly old, how does Jesus' distinctive kingship help you in what you face this week? There must be a simpler way of saying that question, but you get the idea, okay? That's your question. Chat with people around you for a minute or two, and then Toby is going to pop back up.